like meltdown. And so I would sleep outside my gate. If he didn't wasn't home at night, I would sit there and wait for him to come. So he would make sure that he was home, to make sure that he would put me in bed. So I left Jamaica when I was about 2 years later. I left Jamaica when I was almost 9. And I was with my mother for about 4 years. And when I came back to Jamaica, he had put himself on his feet. He bought a new car. The second house was close to being finished. And, he had a job and he had a business. And I was shocked. Like 3, almost 4 years later, this guy who was just like at the end of his rope, his comeback was like, what? And so now the interviews really started. Now I wanted to know more. Like, what did you do? How did you do it? When did you do it? What happened? How old? Oh, he had 2 cars. It wasn't one, he had 2 cars. And I was like, wow. He went from hoofing it to vrooming it, man. And, so I learned so much from him in that point. And so he sent my brothers. We were not my eldest brothers were all in like really superior private schools with tuition paid. We had a tenant in the house. He was just doing well, and I was like, God damn it, how does he do so well? And he wanted us all to have a better education than he did. I'm telling you about a guy who never went to college. And he always wanted us to have a better education than he did. And so I'm going to get to this point very quickly. So he sent me to one of the most superior schools in the Caribbean. And it was an elite school, but to be honest with you, they were they molded me. I would say they molded me. They molded me for greatness outside of Jamaica. But in Jamaica, the education about Jamaica and about how to navigate Jamaican culture, it wasn't really there. Um, but that's one of the other things that, you know, drove him. And so anyway, my brothers were very keen on going to college, and he paid for that and he supported that. And for me, when I was ready to leave Jamaica, it was at a very sensitive point in time between my dad and myself. And for the year before, we weren't getting along, right? We were not getting along. And so, because he was trying to please my siblings, they felt like he was too lenient with me, and I was getting away with too much, and blah 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 blah. And so as they got older and went to college and had more learning than he did, they were able to influence him negatively towards me. And so we had our odds. And what he did was, it was just not a good situation, and I left home. And before I went to the United States, I went home to get some of my things, or to tell him goodbye. And he said, the only thing he wants to tell me, that he cannot tell my brothers, that they won't listen to him, is, he said, an education is good, but a skill is invaluable. And he kind of broke it down for me. Look at what I've done. I did this with no tertiary education. I did this with no college. I was able to do this and do that by one skill. And then from that one skill, I learned other skills. And when I went to the United States, this was still in my mind. Like, okay, I was going to go to college, and, I wanted this one skill. I wanted to be a travel agent so bad. I wanted to be in the travel industry because people were coming to Jamaica and I couldn't figure out, like, what's going on. So I knew there was a whole industry and I wanted to participate in it. And I'll talk some more about that in the future. And I went and I did this course. It was like 500 and something US dollars to become a travel agent. And I paid for it. And the jobs at the time paid very well. And I was very fortunate to ride that industry up until the internet came along and changed how travel was processed. And I was very successful. I got great jobs, jobs with universities, jobs with Fortune 100 corporations, excellent paying jobs. I did very well for myself. And I went back to Jamaica and I talked to him, and he apologized for how he treated me when I was younger. And we made a lot of peace with each other. But he said, I have to keep going, right? And he was right, because your industry will always change. Your opportunities will always be different. And if you just sit with this one skill and you don't improve on your skill, you will be pigeonholed into just this place, right? And so I was going to college. I did both. My mother believed in college. My father believed in having a skill. And so when I was a travel agent making all of that money, I was still pushing myself through college, learning hospitality management. So I worked and I went to school at the same time. And I must tell you that by the time I graduated, I had at least six other certifications behind my name. And no one hired me because I graduated from college in the industry. People hired me because I had the experience. I was now in the position to command my own salary. This is prior to 9/11. I was in the position to command my own salary. I was in the position to um, decide where I wanted to work and how much I wanted to work for, because I kept building on that skill. And so, what I used to do for myself is every year for my birthday, I would treat myself to a course. So I learned real estate. I got the real estate license. I'd learned mortgage broker, so I got the mortgage broker's license. The mortgage broker helped me to understand finance. Finance helped me to understand how to do everything else that I needed to do to navigate. Um, excuse me. Real estate was a natural progression. It's in my blood. It's what my grandparents did. It's what my father did. So it's something that I needed, that was a part of my skill set, and it's in the same sales field. So it helped me a lot to have that in my tool chest, right? So, and the other important thing is, when you go to these big corporations, right? These big corporations in corporate America, they always have these courses like Six Sigma, train the trainer, blah, 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 blah. You need to take advantage of each and every one of those courses. You need to learn each and every one of them, even if you can't put it on your resume, right? You need to tool up and skill up. Do never leave a job with less or at the same place that where you went into the job. It's about progression. You should never be in the same place as you were this year as you were last year. Never. You always have to skill up, learn new skills, learn new things that will put you in the position that when an opportunity comes along, you are ready to grab it and you are ready to choke it with both hands. You are armed to the teeth to learn all you need to know about your own industry, right? And, so I learned in the travel industry at the time, learning travel is like, so in that particular industry, the travel keyboard, the keyboard that you have now, everything else on the travel agent's keyboard at the time was something else, were codes, right? So you had to learn these different formats for automation, and the codes that you learned would give you the different commands. So if you wanted to buy a ticket, if you wanted to pull up an itinerary, if you wanted to do something, it was all codes, right? And that helped me when I decided to move into web development and app deployment and coding. I already had that skill set. I already understood computer language. I already understood computer interface. And when I started my technology company, was investing in the in tech stocks since I was 20. So, or 19, 20, right? So I already had an insight into what was happening in the world and how to navigate that. And so I would give myself skills as gifts, right? Some people, when they get their tax return, they go out and they do their nails and they buy the nice shoes and they buy this and they buy that and they buy whatever, do what you got to do to make yourself feel good. But so to make myself feel good was upping my skill set, right? And this upping my skill set helped me significantly, whether it was project management or food studies, whatever it was. I was going to up my skill set because I never wanted to be in the position where I had an opportunity and I was not confident enough to take advantage of that opportunity. And so everything that you see here with this Exodus house, even though I'm in my own house right now, but at the Exodus house that people are seeing and like, oh my God, this is amazing. How did she do it? Um, First of all, I was groomed for it since I was a child. Second of all, I prepared myself for it. And third of all, I understood the work and I worked for it. Okay? And so people development, people management, people skills, extremely important to a project like this. And to anything that you're thinking that you want to do, you have to know how to make people like you and do anything for you by giving them the things that they need. Help them to do what they need. It's one thing to you have a goal that you want to reach, but remember, everyone on your team also has a goal that they're trying to reach. And if it's just you trying to get where you need to go, people are going to walk away from you. Okay? And this is why we were able to move so quickly. I understood that my guys had school fees to pay. They have their children. This one is pregnant, with the wife is pregnant, this one this one that, you know, people have needs beyond mine. And, and how do we accomplish this goal where we are in a win-win situation for everyone, right? So with all of those skills, you cannot be walking around like, do you know who I am? I got it all. I'm this, and third, blah, blah, blah. And none of that matters. On top of all of your education and all of your skill and all that it does not matter unless you know how to work with people to help them accomplish their goals so you can accomplish your goals. Humbleth thyself down to their level, okay? Humble yourself. Sometimes you have to take yourself out of the equation. Sometimes you have to not be the head person in charge. Sometimes you have to most of the times you have to delegate and let someone else do the work. And these are things I'm telling you, I watched my father do. Okay? I watched my father to do, because he's an amazing person, but his temper was nothing to play with, and he was not going to take any foolishness from nobody, not even me. He was the kind of person that he loved me enough to do anything for me, and loved me enough to kill me if it came to it. Okay, he was nothing to play with. So when it came to work, he would find his strongest workman, and he would do little things. Trust him, trust him, trust him, and see where he takes the work. And he, even in his, when he became like, he in his 70s, he's still alive. Don't think daddy is not alive. He is alive. But when he got much older, he built my brother's house. And that's one of the things that I regret, is not letting him build my house. I really wanted him to build my house. But I learned so much from him. First of all, I was afraid to put my house in Jamaica. Kind of don't know how it got. Jamaica kind of tough and rough, you know. So, I was concerned about that. But I was able to use the little that I watched from him, and how he did things, and how he spoke to people. And in and he there were times when he had to get crazy, and he did. And there were times when he just laughed like and that was his nature. He just laughed things, and laughed and made it into something like, um you're not gonna drain my energy. Just don't play. Just do what you're supposed to do, and let's move on, please. And I learned that from him, how to navigate workmen, how to navigate people, and understand people well enough that they can't take advantage of you, and they want to do their best for you, because they understand that you are both working towards a goal, them towards theirs and you towards yours. So it's a long video. I have a long day. I have like 3 meetings ahead of me. Oh, Jesus. Oh, and some of you people who emailed me, I went to my spam last night to see if I could find an email for someone who said they sent me an email, and everybody email in a spam. I don't know why. So I'm going to go through. Now I'm really like, I really have to run and catch up now, because a lot, even people who are coming on Saturday, some of their emails were in spam. So, Polisana, I'm very sorry about that. I'm gonna get on with the day. Thank you so much for watching. I know it's a long rant, but I hope you picked up some pointers from what I was talking about with my father, and I'm sure that many of you learned a lot from your dads and your family members as well. I'm gonna do a part 2. I'm going to also do some things I learned from my grandfather, because he is another one. He was no joke, but he was very, very, very smart, very intelligent, very both my grandfathers. I'm speaking of my mother's father now, because he and I were the closest. But he uh he was just another amazing person. And my father took a lot of pages from my grandfather's book, his father-in-law's book. And my grandfather too was very instrumental in keeping my father strong when his daughter, my mother, left. So, as a man, he was able to keep him strong for the children. And I salute that energy in my grandfather, and I salute the energy in my father. And so, yeah, I'm I hope some things that I said helped to bring clarity to you for how to navigate the challenges that you'll have in your life. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye. Oh yes, I want to show this off. This, woo! This thing that you see right here, this is another work of Dennis. Right. This is another work that something I designed. I didn't get to show it off yet, but it's a rounded seashell chair. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, y'all. Love you. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.